All right, we are live. Live. All right. What's going on, everybody? My name's Dan Carpenter, recovering alcoholic and drug addict. My co-host and friend Stephanie Robles.
Hey,
Robles.
everybody.
We she is not in recovery. However, she has an awesome way of life. Very positive, and we're in one of the same groups. And we just got talking, and last week we decided to start going live on Thursday at noon Eastern time, and here we are. Um, we are going to just pull different topics out every week, hit on the topic, and see what's going on with everybody. If you guys, if anybody's in here, just comment where you're from. If you're in recovery or not, like I said, it is definitely an open meeting discussion. If you have anything going on in your mind, struggling with anything in life, put it. If you feel comfortable, you can put it out there. We can address it. If not, man, thanks for tuning in. Steph, you want to start us off with one of the topics?
How about we go with dealing with difficult people? Because I think everybody deals with that. When you decide to make a change in your life, you're definitely gonna have those negative people. Like sometimes people will take so much out of you. Like you're struggling and you're doing this, and then it's like they just pull you down. We were talking last week about that quicksand and how you need somebody to kind of pull you out of it. And sometimes you don't have that support, and that's where boundaries come in. I think those two go hand in hand, and that's how you start discovering who you are, because sometimes we all lose our identity almost a little bit dealing with all the difficulties of life, and those are the first steps. What about you, Dan?
Oh man, dealing with difficult people. Um, it's so different. Like, first of all, it's hard. And when before I got sober, I didn't really deal like a lot of us didn't. We just acted out, and in recovery, I would act out as well until I got in that process and started to change the way I handled certain situations and people. Um, it was just difficult. I The biggest part of my sobriety is my attitude and my behaviors, right? So how do I deal with these difficult people? Sometimes I got to bite my tongue, and to be honest with you, that's the hardest thing to do. Especially if I know I'm not wrong, right? Um, I have to remember how important is it? Like, how important is it for me to make a scene or to stoop to their level and deal with that? Uh, you know, Somebody once told me, we gotta. Sorry, my camera's moving. We have to pray for these people, right? Um, I was really never a big fan of that until I actually started to do it. When if I let somebody else bother me that much, where I'm getting resentful, that's going to be a problem, for me. At the end of the day, it's going to be eating me up. It's going to be dealing with me. Meanwhile, that person they're probably not even thinking about what went on, no matter who is right or wrong. So I definitely got to pray for these people, and a good prayer, not to get hit by a bus, not to, not those kind of things. But, there are some sick people out there. I used to be sick, and if I don't take care of myself, I can be. Um, I try not to put myself into situations. Part of being in recovery, I got to find out who I was, why I act the way I act, why I do what I do. And, it's not just the drugs or the alcohol. That's just the symptom. I have these defects we talk about, but I know where my mouth gets me sometimes. It gets me in trouble. So knowing that, now I can make that decision to either interact or not. Social media is a big thing. Sometimes, it is what it is. You stand up for what you believe in. There's other times where I wish I could say something, but I don't, because I don't need to go that route. There's times where I say something and I probably shouldn't, but it's very difficult. Like I said, I don't, believe it or not, I don't get into too much conflict anymore. I really don't. I mean, to me, my experience is when I'm around certain amount of people, like the people, when I'm around positive people, I usually am okay. However, not everybody you're going to run into the world is positive. It's how you're acting at that moment. And, in the back of your mind, I know it's hard and I try and practice this. I'm not always good at it. You don't know what that person's going through. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody just passed away, or maybe they're dealing with, somebody left them or whatever, difficult people, man. It's hard. We can't fix anybody, and why does it bother us so much? I try and look at it like when I'm dealing with a difficult situation or a person, why is it bothering me that much? Is it the way I used to live? Is it the way I used to act? Is it the way I used to think? Those kind of things. And sometimes, yeah, that's true. I don't know, man. It's just a hard thing. And it's a process, just like everything we do in life, right? It's a process, and not everybody, my situation, I got sober. You think everybody would treat you right? No, that's just not the case. People don't care if you're sober or if you're not sober. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care. So people are going to be people. We got to remember that. And, we can't change nobody. I just try to remove myself from the situation. I haven't put my hands on anybody since I got sober. So that's a plus. Those are the kind of things like that you shouldn't be doing, first of all. But, I had to learn through this whole process. But difficult people, man, people are always going to be difficult. Is just try not to engage in it, give them ammo.
What about the boundaries? Do you think that kind of helped you kind of distinguish dealing with the difficult people in your life?
So yeah, I would think all people should have some kind of boundaries in life, right? So, when I got sober, obviously, the old saying, people, places, and things. That was a boundary for me. I couldn't cross that because, I had to get better and I didn't need any distractions. I have to set boundaries with a lot of things. You got relationships, family, all that kind of thing. Everybody has a boundary. And, early on for me, for a while, actually, I was really committed to the process of recovery. I still am, but that was really my bubble, and, without having some kind of boundaries in life, I think I would set myself up for failure. I really would, also your acceptance level and things like that, like all this stuff runs into one another. But, I want to try and stay on topic, but, setting boundaries to protect yourself, it might sound selfish, but I got to worry about what I got to do, especially when I'm sick, and even when I'm not sick, like, I have a family, I have my sobriety, I have all these things, but I still kind of have to have some boundaries. Like, I don't have to let negative people in my life. People are going to come and go. I don't have to interact like I was talking about earlier. And for the most part, I don't, because like yourself, we're trying to better ourselves and be better people and help as many as we can, no matter what the issue is. We don't have really time to having somebody else drag us down. You know what I mean? So, and you can always extend those boundaries, depending how I'm doing spiritually, I might extend that, that's enough. Like, I don't need to go there today. It's all practice though. So like I said, some days it's not something I think about on a daily basis, but, I do apply it. So it became like natural. Like, obviously I'm not going to, this afternoon, I'm not going to go get hot wings at the bar and sit there at the bar. Not saying that people can't do that and live a good life. My history, my past, knowing what I've done, that's probably not a good idea. Yeah, it was 7 years ago, but I don't belong there, you know. So just an example like that. I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it? You know what I mean? What about yourself?
Um, I I used to be a people pleaser person. Like my personality was always yes. I was taking on everybody's baggage. And I was not, that's how I had to learn who I was again. I lost who I was, what my goals, my ambition, everything. I lost it because I was taking on everybody else's problems, everybody else's their trash, all of that. And I had to be like, no, I'm not going, I choose to not allow this to affect me. And I think Maya Angelou best said it, stop making people a priority who are making you an option.
Mm,
And that's what people were doing. And I was allowing it. Once you start standing up for what you believe in and what you want to allow in your life, it's like your emotional bank. Like negative people withdraw a lot out of you. And by the time you look at that account, it's going to be in the negative. I no longer choose to allow them to withdraw that much out of me. And you'll see once your bank account, you set a limit on yourself. I am not going to allow this to happen, and you distance yourself. You can love people from afar. I
mm.
wish you well, thank you, and keep it pushing. You in your lane, and I'm in mine. And that's how you learn and you grow and you evolve. And you'll see things change for the better. Family, they did not. I had some difficulties dealing with family members. My way of mentality, my thinking, all of that. People are there. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones that'll cut you the deepest. And they will try to self-sabotage you, which is kind of dumb because they're your family and they're supposed to love you. But again, it is what it is, and you have to do what's best for you. Nobody is the exact person. Like, we're all different. So you have to start standing up for yourself. And once you start allowing your voice to be heard, people are going to look at you in a different light. You're going to realize you start walking in a different manner. Your head is higher, your shoulders are back. You're no longer looking down at the floor. Like, you could tell a difference between somebody that is allowing people to just take a toll on you, because it can make you sick and it could put you in a situation that you don't want to be in. It's
Yeah,
your choice, right?
absolutely, absolutely. And like you said about family, like some people, in recovery, example, if people are actively drinking or using, like, we always tell them, hey man, like family or not, you know, you got to get yourself some help. You got to distance that. And some people just, oh, you don't understand. That's my family. At the end of the day, man, you have to look out for yourself. You really do. I mean, especially in that kind of situation. It doesn't, they say people, places, and things. They don't say people, places, and, family, like places, things, family, it's all the same. You have to protect yourself. But yeah, I definitely agree with you 100%. I was going to say, what the hell was I thinking? Oh, so, there's a situation I remember for myself. Now, my family, like, they were supportive of me. They've been through everything, tenfold, but I was starting to feel uncomfortable. I think it was my first Thanksgiving. I was very uncomfortable. Now, they didn't drink much. Did it bother me? I don't even know if it bothered me, but I remember the holiday. It was my first sober Thanksgiving, and it was always a big party day, not with the family, but just how I ran. And I remember not be able to stay for that whole time because I was very uncomfortable. They didn't make me uncomfortable. Nobody pressured me, nothing like that. I just wasn't used to feeling the way I was feeling, right? So I remember leaving, and like I went to a meeting and stuff like that. And, these are all little things that I learned. Like, I didn't know, not to run from everything in life, but I didn't know that I can excuse myself, if it was detrimental to me. Who knows? Would I drank there? No, but why sit there and sabotage yourself? So I got what I needed, and just little things like that. Like, thousands of people helped me through since I got clean. And not just about not drinking and using, but just being a better person. You know what I mean? Like there's some things we follow and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's to be better. You know, not better than, just to be better than I was yesterday. You know, some days I achieve it, and sometimes I don't. You know, but boundaries are, I don't know. I just wish more people would set a little bit more boundaries, only because I feel that, you know, people set themselves up. You know, even if you have great intentions, you know, and we don't always see the whole picture, right? So I know myself, and I'm very guilty of this. You know, in the past, I would make some mistakes where I would only see what Dan's seeing, right? I wouldn't see the stuff to the right or the left, only straight in front of me. Because I just it wouldn't register, you know? So, like, if we set boundaries and, you know, give it some time and see what's really going on, I think we all can learn from that, and I think it would protect us.
Hmm. I absolutely agree with you. It's the hardest thing when the seeing somebody negatively, especially if it's coming from blood, and I think that was the hardest point, seeing those people like really take a toll on me, and me having to say no. That is the hardest thing to do, is to stand up for yourself. It is so hard, and you have people pushing you to do things that you're not emotionally ready for. It's extremely difficult. It's so hard to be able to do that. And then you have to deal with them and the outcomes of that. It's extremely difficult. And sometimes they'll even invade your life, they'll look for you. And then how do you deal with those emotions? How do you stop it from bothering you or affecting you? It's hard, and that's where boundaries come in. And sometimes you do have to cut people off. It's hard. It was really hard for me. um, but the funny thing about boundaries is it has the most amazing effect. As soon as you start implementing them, you start attracting a certain type of people towards you. And I don't know if you feel the same way. Like, it's like more people start looking for you, and more opportunities and doors start opening for you when you do that. Like, there's amazing opportunities that come out of these boundaries. You start changing and you're stronger. You start becoming a more stronger person. And people will always ask you, Dan, why are you so positive? Why are you whistling? Why are you all that? And you're looking at them like, are you serious? Like, why would you ask that question? Like, why wouldn't you be happy?
Yeah.
Like, you're walking around here, and you're alive. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something to be happy about. You don't know about tomorrow, but I know about today and right now.
And
Right?
that's the thing. Like, it wasn't always like that. And, like, it's not always easy. You know, it's not all. But like when you learn, my experience is when you learn to do some different things, and work on self, like you become different. Obviously, like a different you. And I think that's a blessing. Like I said, thousands of people help me. If it was in meetings, readings, speakers, you know, reading whatever, I would have never, like, I didn't get anywhere on my own. And I believe that 100%. You know, for me, my experience is, you know, God puts people in my life, negative, positive. I gotta do what I gotta do. But it's just totally different. Like, if you hang out with people that are positive, I'm pretty sure you're going to be positive. You know, if you do what they do, you're going to be positive. You know, not 24/7, but you got to change your way of thinking. And I don't think that's just for alcoholics and drug addicts. You know, there's a lot of people out there that aren't an addict or an alcoholic, and they struggle. You know, they're very negative on self. You know, they don't feel like they're worth anything. Um, all that kind of stuff. But I think if you can change your way, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like, I was I was sick, man. I was really sick. Let's keep it 100. But, you know, over time, you know, you get sick of feeling like that. You know, even when the drugs and the alcohol I stopped, I wasn't, you know, who I became. But there's a lot of things in between then and here. But, you know, I don't know. I just think going back to people that are difficult. You know, for me, I always like would kind of like to argue a lot, right? And I still like I'll still defend myself, right? I will. If there's something I believe in, I try not to, but I can't shut it down, man, because there's some things that I really, really believe in. Not that anybody else has to believe them, but if I believe in them, I'm gonna back them up. But people used to tell me, "Hey, man, you're going through this process. You know, you have to act right." And that was hard, right? So you got to act right. They always used to tell me, pretend somebody new, right? In recovery or not, whatever. Somebody's following you. How would you want them to perceive you? And I always had to think about that. Look, man, like I'm not perfect. However, I got to try, because if I'm not trying, somebody's asking for help. Why the hell are they going to try? So like I always kept that in the back of my mind. It's just one of those things, man. One of those things.
And people, they'll come at you and they'll bravely. I think the hardest thing again is the emotional toll. Like you think you're strong enough, and then something happens, and you're like, "Holy poop! How do I deal with it?" And they say that the 5 people that you surround yourself with is how you're going to directly start resemble them, resembling them a little bit. So if you hang around 5 positive people, that's what you're going to become because it's in your face all the time. Like, I listen to motivational things. I even have my kids listening to it just because I can only imagine how school was. I mean, it's not like way back when where, you get in a fight with a bully, whoever got beat up, you get roasted for a couple of weeks and then you shake hands and you keep it moving. Now they go to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I help empower them? How do I get them to speak up? Because kids don't do that. They don't have that confidence. How do I build that confidence up? And I was like, that's your boundary. You tell them what you want. If somebody's acting a certain way and you ask them to stop, remove yourself from the situation. Whether it's right or wrong, that's okay. That's your opinion and you're entitled to it. Go ahead and rock it out. God bless you and keep it moving and you do you and be happy about it. Sometimes you got to remix it sometimes.
And also, like, we're not like a doormat either. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, I mean, I don't know. A lot of times, maybe people want to people please or whatever it is, but you can't be getting stepped on. You know what I mean? Like, you can't let people step all over you. That you gotta like have people. Hey, all right, that's enough. And different situations, different people have different feelings and emotions and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. Like if you've ever been used in your life for anything, you can relate to that, regardless what the situation was. At the end of the day, you realize, look, man, I've already been down this road. I already know what's going to turn out. Like for myself, I pick up a drink or a drug. I already know what's going to happen, and there's nothing positive in that situation. You know what I mean? So I would be crazy if I would do that. But boundaries are needed. I think, like I said earlier, sometimes you need them bigger. But back to the positive thing. You can't. I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be positive. I didn't.
Yes.
Maybe some people that worked for them, that just wasn't the case. I had to go through some real pain, real pain and a lot of practice, man. Like you think about it, right? I didn't get sober for my case. I didn't get sober to be miserable. There was a time I was sober and I was miserable, right? So some things had to change. Why do I want to be sober? I didn't want to drink and use because the way I felt. Now I'm sober. I don't want to feel this way. So it's like a change, right? And my process was like a lot of people's. We had that psychic change. We got a higher power. We did all these different things. But, it was little at a time, and the more, like, the better I felt, the more I could express myself and not worry about what anybody's saying. Not worrying about, are they judging me or not? To be honest with you, like, I want to help people. The people that don't like me, I'm okay with that today. I used to want people to I used to have to, why? Why don't you like me? Is it something I said? Now I don't, because like my I try and keep this side clean. do I make mistakes? Of course, but I handle that. But it's just it's one of those things. Like once you get to like, I don't know, man. Like I don't want to scare anybody out. If not everybody believes in God or has a higher power, and that's fine. But something happened. It wasn't me. Like I didn't. I didn't just become like positive and think the way I think, and like a lot of it was taught to me. But then there was other stuff where, here you go, man, go run with this, and that's what really how I feel. And yeah, man, it's great. It really is. It's great to be positive and do these things, but when you're not, then you got to put your hand up for some help, right? And I don't struggle with that as much as I used to, but I know a lot of people. They get some time, their life's going good, they got some years under their belt, and we all go through stuff, physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. Sometimes people have a hard time putting that hand up. And, that sucks because they got to suffer. You know what I mean? And like I said, all kind of people go through that. If it's the ego, for me, it was my ego. When I had 3 years sober, like I was struggling, I didn't want to put my hand up. It wasn't about drinking. It wasn't about using it. It was about some other things. I didn't know it at the time because I could handle it. That's what I told myself. But, here it was. I didn't want people thinking I was weak. Going through the process and doing everything I was doing, that was silly. I know people think like I do and things like that. But, eventually I got through and did what I had to do. But, the secrets will keep you sick, man, for real. You know what I mean?
Growing, for some odd reason, I'm one of those people that I kind of think I enjoy the pain. And let me just clarify why I say that. Because for some people, going through that pain, you're crying and you're feeling bad about yourself because you're in so much pain. But then I get really mad. Like I'm mad. And I use that as a stepping stone, that pain, that anger, those emotional feelings to get up. Because my mom always used to say, all right, cry about it. If you're going to cry, cry standing up.
Mm.
Because crying is not going to solve the problem. Crying ain't going to take it away and it's not going to make it better. You need to do something about it. So what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and cry about it, or you're going to get up and do something about it? And then eventually you just find the strength to get up and you start fighting back. And it's almost like when you're behind, well, what was it? When you're stuck between a rock and a hard place and you just continue pushing. Water isn't harder than rock, but if it hits it enough time, it starts wearing a hole through the rock. So you have to keep doing it, keep moving, implement it every single day. And if you can't think of it in 24 hours, think of it and do it in 5-minute increments. Do it in 1 minute increment. 1 minute that you're in that positive mindset, that boundary line, and dealing with those difficult people is a success for you. Celebrate that success. Enjoy that you did it for yourself. Now let's keep going. How much further? What do you got? And keep going. Instead of asking why me, say try me. And
Yeah.
that's how I am, and I see you're the same way. Like you're ready to get up and keep battling because that's how you know what the stuff you're made of.
Yeah, and that's like I totally agree with you, and that's what we got to do. But like a lot of people want that instant gratification, you know what I mean? And like my way never I like when I practice and things like that, it's not instantly. The only thing instantly that happened in my life is what I used to do in the past. That's drugs and alcohol. That's the only thing instantly. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is a process. Everything else takes work. So like if I want to be positive one day, okay, you hang out with positive people, do what they do, act how they act, and still be yourself. Like over time, it happens. For me, I had a psychic change. My behaviors, all that kind of stuff. But it's not like once you get to the end, you stop. It's a constant battle. And I don't know, man. Like it's just a better way of living. And for those difficult people, man, look. I would like to say, I got that, like I can handle, but it depends how I am mentally at that time. You know what I'm saying? If I'm up in my head or if I'm having a rough day or whatever it is, and it presents itself, I don't know. You know what I mean? That's why I have some people. That's why I have a higher power. That's why I have a program. That's why I have these things that I do, because I can't do it alone, right? So I guess it's just practice, knowing right from wrong. I have a conscience today, right? So whatever I do, regardless if it's my fault or not, I'm responsible. So if somebody's giving me a hard time, I'm still responsible for what I say and what I do. And all that's just a practice, man. It's a lesson. But I really, to the most part, besides social media, I really don't have any really issues. And even on social media, I don't. But there's a lot of negativity on social media, right? And if you feed into that, guess what? I believe you're training your brain to be negative. If all you're reading is negative, 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 what's your brain registering? You know what I'm saying? So I try just to stick away from that, just do what I do, and look, there's going to come a time where things are shitty. Let's face it, there's going to come a time, and that's okay. That's not being negative. That's just what's really going on, and then we address the issue and then we go from there. But, if you're dealing with any of this, man, reach out to anybody and work on it, because it's not like osmosis. It doesn't just go away. You don't just get it. You got to work through stuff. Anything in life, think about it. Anything in life you have to work at. But a lot of us want that, quick fix. And I'm the same. Like I still want some things quickly. Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I know it takes work when I really think about it.
It does take a lot of work. If you saw me today, you wouldn't realize that maybe 5 years ago, I was stuck in a bed. I was bedbound. I couldn't get up. I couldn't do anything, and I had 2 kids. And I had to find the strength every day. Nothing is more, it chips away at your confidence when you're stuck in the bed and you have your husband coming home from work and he's taking care of the kids and helping you take a shower. It's a toll on your self-esteem. Like, you start thinking in your head, like, man, maybe they're better off without me. Maybe maybe they don't deserve this. Maybe I'm being a burden to them. And my husband had a very real conversation, and he was like, have I ever told you that? I was like, no. He was like, so don't ever allow yourself to ever think you're a burden on somebody. Don't think that, because that's not you. You're too valuable in this world. You have 2 kids and you have me. So you better get up, stop crying, get up, and let's fight. And that's what I did. And that's what makes you grow, having those conversations to continue getting up and dealing with difficult people. Difficult situations are always going to come into your life. It's not what you do when you fall down. It's what you do when you get back up that counts. Because everybody's not going to remember that one time you got up. Sometimes they remember that one time that you're down and it bothers you a little bit, Oh, I remember when Dan was over here walling out, going crazy and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of bothers you emotionally a little bit. But then you got to realize, like, I'm not that person.
Exactly.
That person is a part of my past. So no matter how many times you bring it up, you're not going to stop me from doing God's work, like you said, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, and like, it's like, what are we doing now? You know what I mean? Like, and again, this is all avenues of life. Like, what are we doing now? I mean, like, what I did yesterday, okay, that's over and done with. Good, bad, positive, negative, whatever. But what are we doing now? You know what I mean? Like, I can't live in last week. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, nothing will change from last week if I'm living there. Second of all, like, I'm not growing as a person. I'm not growing as a father. I'm not growing as a fiance. I'm not growing as an individual, right? So, like, I got to let that stuff go. Like, it's gone, done with. If I need to learn from it and keep it moving. If I need to address something that happened last week, that's fine. Address it, but don't live there. It's just, I don't know, man. I wish everybody the best, and everybody got their own journey. You have one, I have one, everybody else has one. And if I could tell you that 7 years ago, I think I'd be right here. No, 7 years ago I was dying. You know what I mean? And it is what it is, man. Like, it's not me. Somebody else is running the show. I'm just a little soldier, and I like to remix some things. You know what I mean? But this is good. This is what I like. I like to get out and talk to people, put it out there. If it helps somebody, great. If not, I know it helped me. I know it helped you. And that's it. That's just the message. Anything else you want to add?
I think you have to definitely, when it comes to dealing with difficult people, some people, it used to bother me when people would stop coming around me. Like, it really bothered me. I'm like, why don't you want to chill with me anymore? What do I have? Is something wrong with me or something? It used to really bother me. And then I realized it's not them that has the problem, it's me. You start realizing the one factor in that problem is yourself. Like,
Yeah,
why do I need that person? If they're so toxic, why do I need you for? I mean, come on.
I've been
And
there. I've been there.
right?
I've
Right?
been
It's
there.
hard. You're like, no, but I want you here, the instant gratification.
Yeah.
You want all of this, and then it's like, no, I don't need you no any longer in my life. I've outgrown you. There we go. That's the word. You outgrown people in different situations in your life, and you to propel you greater things. I would have never thought that I would be where I'm at. I'm sitting here vibing with you, Dan, and I mean, I never thought that I would be doing this at all. Shy Stephanie in her little house with her kids, and I was like a Latin Stepford wife. That's literally where I was. I was just in my little house, and that's just what I was doing. And here I am vibing and helping people to create something for themselves because it's so important. Look at, we have to model our lives after these people, like that Gap commercial. I'm
Yeah.
the mom out of the Gap commercial
Yeah.
when
Right.
I'm really the mom, when I'm really, my kids are the Gap commercial and I'm the mom with a top knot with sweatpants running after the bus with a coffee in my hand trying to just make it, you know and that's what we do. We're doing God's work and showing people that this is real life. This is the ugly side and the good side. And you
Mhm.
could choose what you want and what you choose to allow in your life.
Gotcha. I like that. I like that. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where like you just get up and you go. You know what I mean? Everybody has different circumstances. I get that. Today I know I ain't no better or no worse than anybody else. You know what I mean? And it took me a long time to realize that because there's highs in life and then there's lows in life. Like I'm just trying to stay right in the middle. You know what I mean? Right in the middle and just go with it. And not just be so hard on some things. Um, but it's always a good time, and people like you said people could be a burden. Like there was a time where nobody wanted me around, and I didn't want to be around nobody anyways. That's how I looked at it. But um, you know, when people struggle, they always think they're a burden to ask for help, right? Like I don't want to call
Yes.
them. They might be busy or now knowing these people that you're going to call like want you to call them and like I just don't, man. Like if I struggle, like I get on the phone or I text or I call somebody because I've been there. I struggled through recovery. I made it through, but instead of it being maybe 4 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours, whatever the case was, it was like days because it was days that I sat in that pain until I finally, hey man, I got to talk to you. I'm dealing with this situation. Instead of just doing it right away. Because I thought, the great I am can handle this. So if you're struggling with anything, like put your hand up, pick the phone up, like call somebody, call your friends. People that know what's going on with you. Um, I don't know. I just know when I don't deal with things, my feelings will deal with me. You know what I mean? And that was never, ever, ever good. When my feelings and emotions are running the show, it's chaos. Period. It's chaos. And you're back to square one. So.
And it's like your household gets disturbed.
Yeah.
Like if one parent, and I've noticed that with parents, there's always one parent that, and the other one is like has the peaceful Zen mode, like they're just chilling you out. And that's the same thing in life. Like you're gonna flip flop a little bit. There's gonna be days where you're gonna spaz out and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. You need somebody to be in that Zen mode to help you get it together. Cause that truth, let's be honest, truth hurts.
Yeah.
And you want to get defensive because the automatic.
Uh-oh. I think I lost her. Steph, I think she froze up. All right, guys, we froze up. So we will be back live next Thursday, noon Eastern, with 2 more topics. If you haven't followed her page, Stephanie380 or Stephanie Robles, check it out. My name is Dan Carpenter. I love each and every one of you guys. Peace.